Welcome to Sprinkled with Hope. This is your host, Shane, and today we're going to be talking about the mind, that it's a really strong, powerful tool. We're going to be talking about a few other things that Jason's going to go over.
Yeah, my name's Jason, and we're going to be talking about motivation as well and what motivation is, how we can get motivated, just some things we can say to ourselves to get us motivated, and then always rounding out with, that we are like the five most people we surround ourselves with. So surround yourself with greatness. And here we go, episode 2.
Welcome to the Sprinkled with Hope podcast.
This is Jason.
And this is Shane.
And it's podcast time.
Hi, welcome to our podcast. Again, this is Shane and Jason Valor and our podcast, Sprinkled with Hope.
Today we're going to talk about a few things. First of all, we're going to talk about the mind. Then we're going to talk about becoming positive. And then we're going to finish up by motivating ourselves. So first we're going to talk about the mind, and we believe that the mind is a very powerful thing, that no matter what, we can train our mind to do certain things. We believe that the mind is a very strong thing. We also believe that if you exercise your mind, just like your body, that you can develop thoughts and how to become more positive, and you can really train your mind on anything that you want to accomplish. So first, the mind is a powerful thing, and second, we really do need to train it and exercise it just the way that we would with our bodies. If you don't do that, then it kind of lacks and can, just like the body, be out of shape, so to say.
Yeah, so one of the things that goes along with that is taking action, right? And deciding that you want to be positive. You have to make up your mind to be a positive person. You have to want to do that. And once you've decided to do that, then you're going to take that action. And one of the pieces that we've talked about in taking action is, and a lot of you have probably heard this, but you are most like the five people you surround yourself with. So if you're surrounding yourself with negative people and negative situations, that's what you're going to be like. If you want to be positive, well, then come along with us. We're positive, and we'll keep it positive. But surround yourself in your life with positive people. Smile. Do other things like that that'll help bring that positivity out in you.
Yeah, like Jason had mentioned, surrounding yourself with positive people really does it does wonders, and that's, we believe, part of the reason why we're positive is that we surround ourselves with positive people, and we also really enjoy uplifting people and spreading that positivity. So that's why we're doing this podcast. We have a quote by Rohn, and he says, "You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight." We thought that was really good, that you really can't change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction. And that really goes back to the mind and how you decide you want to be, and like Jason had mentioned, taking action and doing those things that will allow you to get there. So we want to do a little thing right now. We want to ask you to close your eyes for a minute and just imagine what we're going to talk about. So close your eyes and think about this big bucket that's sitting right in front of you. It can be whatever color you want. I would choose purple. That's my favorite color. So in front of me is a big purple bucket, and I have just caught a big king crab. I put the crab in the bucket. Well, there's only one crab in this bucket right now. So what do you think is going to happen? It's going to just climb out because there's only one crab. Now imagine that I just caught two big king crab and I put them in my purple bucket. Now what do you think is going to happen? Well, naturally, both of the crab want to get out. So they actually drag each other down so that neither of them can get out of this bucket. They pull each other down, literally. And that's the same thing with being positive and building yourself up, that if you don't surround yourself with positive people, that they will drag you down. And so what we're saying is, in order to build yourself up, surround yourself with positive people. Be the only one in your bucket, and you can climb out, unlike if you have two crabs. So we're asking you to ditch the crabs, and that really means getting rid of the negative people or things or whatever in your life, and you will see a big difference.
Absolutely, and I really like that analogy. Um, and in our discussion, we're going to talk a little bit too about just being kind and sharing that with others. Um, I'm sure you guys have experienced walking into a grocery store and somebody opens the door for you and smiles at you. I mean, you have no other thing to say but thank you, right? And so as people are kind to you, you can be kind and share that kindness with others, kind of like a pay it forward type thing. Um, and the other thing we want to do as we're becoming more positive is we want to take some responsibility for ourselves, right? And we don't want to blame others for the negative things or the whatever's going in our life. We want to take that responsibility and have some ownership of it. We don't want to blame others for what's going on. We want to continue and be positive and just have a positive attitude.
The other thing we want to talk about is, if you think about most situations, and not everything, but in most situations, you can find good things in those situations. It really depends on how you look at it, how you've trained your mind, how you've exercised your mind, and you can, in most situations, see the good in that. So hopefully we all, including us, continue to train our mind to become better. We also believe that if you become what you feed your mind. So if you're feeding your mind good things about yourself, good things about everybody else, you're going to become that. If you constantly tell yourself, I can do this, I'm smart, I can do anything, chances are you're going to do all those things.
Absolutely. And, just becoming what you feed your mind. And Shane mentioned that too, right? Like as we're feeding and exercising our mind and we're putting things into it, like that's the kind of what we're going to get out of it, right? If we're putting garbage in, we're going to get garbage out. If we're putting healthy, good things in our mind, we're going to get healthy, good things coming out. I think that kind of goes back to when some of us were kids and we're learning that stuff, right? One of the other things, me and Shane really like is we like quotes. I really like them. And so I got a quote here from John C. Maxwell. Great author. I really enjoy his books. But one of the things he talked about, and this is our next topic, which is motivation. This is what he said. Motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing. So I think, having motivation, helping you get moving in a direction and finding that motivation, and then having the discipline will help drive you towards whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, whether that be more positivity. We talked a little bit about having a better job or losing weight or whatever it is that you're trying to get over. I think having that discipline will help to continue to allow you to grow. One more thought that I had was motivation. We tend to put things off or procrastinate when we are in a bad mood. And Shane, you could probably talk about this as well, but when you're in a bad mood, you tend not to want to do anything, right? You tend not to want to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about this before, but I believe that you can make that moment that maybe you're not motivated. That can be a second, it can be a minute, it can be the whole day. It really depends on you and your mindset and how long you really want that to be. I don't believe that we can have a completely bad day. I think that is our mind telling us that we have had a bad day, but that really could be just second, and we have to train our mind to look differently at it and say, you know what, yeah, that was a bad situation, but I'm moving on from it, and I want to be positive, and I want to fill my bucket full of positivity, and so I'm going to choose to do that.
Yeah, and research has shown that happiness increases productivity and makes you more successful. And let's face it, we all want to be successful. We all want to have that thing that drives us, uh, that we want to be better. We want to be better today than we were yesterday. Um, and research shows happiness helps to provide that for us. Um, so, how do we find optimism if you just aren't feeling it? Shane, what are your thoughts there?
How do you find optimism? I would go back again to the first thing I mentioned, that the mind is a very powerful thing. And I think the more we train our minds to think about the good and find that, that to me, really, it comes down to that. You know, I think sometimes we do lack the optimism, but we have to train our minds to just overcome that as soon as we can. As we go throughout this podcast, we will bring those things up. But ultimately, I do believe that the mind is a very powerful thing, and it can, as we train it and exercise it, that it'll improve, and we'll be more optimistic about life. It goes back to what the title of our podcast is: Sprinkled with Hope. And if you have hope, as long as you hold on to it, even if it's a thread of hope, you will have optimism for the future. So that's one of the whole reasons why we chose Sprinkled with Hope as our podcast name, because hope to us is huge.
Absolutely. And just going along with that, I was thinking one of the other ways you could do that is to just monitor your progress, right? And celebrate the wins. So as you uh, have goals and you finish those goals, you can feel good about those as you mark them off a list, or however it works for you. But monitor that progress. And then as you move through those goals, you'll see yourself getting better. Treat yourself whenever you complete something on your to-do list. And one of the other things that I was thinking about was set yourself one specific, easy, achievable goal, something that you can complete like by tomorrow morning, that may only take 2 minutes, right? And it's very short, very easy to do, very easy to accomplish. And then you can feel good about it.
Yeah, what you're talking about, Jason, is exactly what we started off by saying: exercise your mind. So if you're doing those things and you're treating yourself, you're setting small goals, we don't expect everybody to listen to this podcast and think, oh my goodness, I'm instantly positive and I've learned so much. It's taken us a long time to get to the point where we are, but we're living proof that it can happen. So what you're talking about is exactly what we're saying. Exercise your mind to develop that positivity.
Absolutely. And going back to, having that positivity, I think we need to work on positive self-talk. Instead of saying, I can't do that, or I can't finish this, or I can't do that, try saying, I can at least try. I can try to do this. If you're just saying you can't do it, you're already setting yourself up for failure before it even starts. So as you're thinking, okay, that might be a difficult task to complete, think to yourself, well, I'm going to at least try it, right? That can be a good thing to start with.
Yeah. Jason, you had a really good question as we were talking about this topic. Why don't you ask that? I thought it was a great question.
The question that we were talking about was, what would you attempt if you knew you couldn't fail? So if you knew without a shadow of a doubt that you're not going to fail at whatever task you're going to even start, what would you attempt? What would you try? What would you try to accomplish? And I think, as me and Shane were talking about it, I was thinking about the other day we were at the water park, and here I am, 40 years old, right? And I've been going to this water park since I was a kid. And Shane asked me to go on one of the water rides that's pretty tall, and it's called Free Fall, and it goes pretty much in a vertical descent. I was hesitant to go on it, and have been for 40 years. and Shane kind of, said, look, what do you got to lose? Like, what's going to happen if you don't try it?
Yeah.
Then you may not enjoy it. And it kind of got me thinking a little bit. And I did. I ended up going on this ride. The funny thing about that is Shane said, this is going to be your new favorite ride, right?
Can't get off it now. So it's really a fun ride. But I think this is a good personal example that we're sharing that shows it really is a mindset. The mind truly is a strong, powerful thing. And if you continue to tell your mind, I can't, chances are you're not going to be able to do that. But once Jason decided in his mind, I can do this, he can't get off the ride now. It really is fun. So
yeah, it's the funnest ride that I had, and really it was a mindset. Shane is exactly right. And this is just one example in my life where I let something hold me back for 40 years until I finally had enough gumption to say, you know what, maybe I am missing out on something here. And ever since then, me and Shane have enjoyed this ride multiple times together. And we have seen, just so much fun come from it. And we get down to the bottom of the ride and we're smiling after we've choked on a gallon of water. But that is absolutely true. It was all about the mindset of just holding myself back. So what would you attempt today if you knew you couldn't fail? And what is stopping you from trying that?
I think that is such a great question. So just to wrap up and reiterate what we've talked about, the mind is a powerful thing. You have to exercise it. We should ditch the crabs, which is to get rid of all the negative in our life and surround ourselves with positive people and positive things. Hopefully we can bring some of that positive vibe to your life. We really do hope that. And then to motivate yourself. And like Jason had mentioned, set really small, achievable goals and start there. And we believe that if you do these things, that you're going to start to see a change in your life, that you will see that you are more positive, uplifting, that you're starting to reach out to people and you're uplifting them and motivating them and spreading positivity just like us every single day.
Absolutely. And just in closing as well, I want to mention, something that I talked about a little bit, but it's the 2-minute rule, and it's try something every day for 2 minutes and just continue to work on it every day for 2 minutes. Could you imagine if you're trying to learn Spanish or another language, or you're trying to learn to play the guitar, right? If you were to practice every single day for 2 minutes, how successful you would be. In a book I was just recently listening to, it was talking about why athletes are the best at what they do. And it's because they can push through the boredom of doing those repetitious things every single day. That's why they are successful. So if you can do it 2 minutes every day and continue to push through it, I promise you will be better on the other side.
Yep. We want to thank you guys for listening to us. Again, our ultimate goal and hope and wish and desire is that you, as you come on this journey with us, that you start to see that positive change in your life, that you hold on to more hope, and maybe you also spread positivity. So we want to thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Yes, thank you for joining us on our journey, and we sure want to let you know we're indeed grateful, and our love goes out to all of you. And with much love, Shane and Jason.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
This is Sprinkled with Hope. If you liked this episode, please share it with a friend.
If you like our podcast, please give us a review or rating.